Today's video is going to be a makeup lesson on pretty much like the base of the face, foundation, concealer, and powder. This is probably one of my favorite things about makeup. I mean, I love every aspect. I love every aspect. There's a lot of different options when it comes to coverage and things like that. I am going to talk to you guys about different products before we do the actual application. So first, I'm going to jump into skincare. My skin has improved a lot in the past couple months. I have acne prone skin, but also a little bit of like combination skin. Skincare and skin prep is really so important to your face makeup application. You're not gonna get a beautiful foundation look if you don't cleanse your face and at least moisturize it. You need to at least do those things, in my opinion. I have been using Aveeno Ultra Calming Gentle Facial Foaming Cleanser, something of that sort, and it really helped clear up my acne. That and Rosehip oil really helped clear up my acne. Those are the only two products I use, and it changed my skin in just a couple days. So I really have love for those products. If I'm going to take off makeup, I will either do a double cleanse or I will do a makeup wipe and then a cleanse with my cleanser. I'll dry my face, and then I'm currently using a Lush toner which comes out of a spray bottle, which is convenient so I'm not using cotton pads all the time and wasting. I let that dry, and then I typically, because I'm lazy, I will do a mix of a serum and a moisturizer. It is recommended to do a serum, let it dry, then a moisturizer, let it dry, but I like to just do a pump of each in my hand and put that on my neck and my face. I'm really loving the Derma E Vitamin C Serum and the Cerave Daytime Lotion with SPF 30, hyaluronic acid. Now that we've got that under control, I usually will do my eye makeup before my face makeup. I touch my face a lot, and so if I'm, you know, trying to do an eyeliner or stick lashes on, it's just better for me to wait to do the makeup last, and then I also can clean up under the eyes, which tends to happen a lot for me. I like to have a, you know, clean eyeshadow look, so I will take a makeup wipe or something to clean up the edges. Something I like to do, since sometimes my eyes get all dry from that or just irritated, is put on a little bit of a moisturizer under the eyes. This is the Vichy Aqualia Thermal face cream, but I just have a sample size. It's about $9 for the sample size. It smells really nice, like expensive anti-aging skincare. We also want to use some chapstick or something. I put on some Vaseline earlier, but obviously use whatever you want. Priming is basically like a primer for paint as well on walls. It helps just make a smoother base. It can cancel out some fine lines, some discoloration, blur your pores. Different primers do different things. This No Poreblem primer from Touch in Soul, and it's like a little bit of a silicone but smoothing primer. Catrice Prime and Fine Smoothing Refiner, which reminds me of the Professional from Benefit, but it's just in a different packaging. I don't prefer this packaging because I feel like it gets really germy, you know? Jeremy. This is really good. I've repurchased this a couple times and used it every day for a while. I have the NYX Bear With Me Radiant Perfecting Primer. This one's illuminating. I like to put this on the cheek area. Hard Candy Sheer Envy Instant Eye Fix, and it's an under eye treatment, but I actually like to use it like on the center of my face. It has a little bit of color to it, and it will just tone things down a little bit. I also like to use it when I don't want to wear makeup, but I do need a little bit of smoothing out. You could obviously just use it under the eyes, but personally I don't like to put a lot of product under my eyes. Makeup Forever has some really good primers. Just depends on what your goal is. If you want something like more radiant, or if you want something that's gonna fill in your pores, you want something mattifying. I would say mattifying and pore filling are gonna be super long lasting primers if they have those aspects to them. Sometimes when I want a little bit more radiance but not like a highlighter vibe, I will use the MAC Strobe Cream, and this will just really easily sink into the skin and give a glow from within. Today I'm going to be using this Makeup Revolution Priming Oil, and I like to put this on the sides of the face. I don't put it on the center. I'm a little bit afraid of it. I don't want it to like clog my pores. I haven't had any issues with it on the outer part of my face yet, but I really actually came back and forth to this. I don't love the smell of this, but I do like the way it looks. Like, it really makes cream products look almost glistening. I'll have to show you. So I am gonna add a little bit of that. It doesn't smell terribly like rancid, is that even a word? But it doesn't smell refreshing by any means. And I'll also do a little bit of the No Poreblem primer, and you really don't need very much. Lately I have not been into foundation as much as I normally have, but I am gonna be wearing it today because I feel like it's just not right if I'm doing a whole face base type of thing and not using any foundation. But I am gonna shout out the products I actually prefer using. I'm pretty much obsessed with the It Cosmetics CC cream. I have the shade Light, and at the moment it's a good shade for me. It gives like pretty full coverage, a really nice finish. I like to just put it on my cheeks and then conceal the center of my face. I also have filmed a video on this. It's the NYX Bear With Me Tinted Skin Veil, and I do like this. This is not as full coverage, but it still gives you some good natural coverage, and I like to use it on the cheek area as well. I'll go in with like a second layer if I really need extra coverage, but on the days I don't need extra coverage, I like to use this. And I have the shade Natural Soft Beige when I also want to even take it down even more of a notch, or if I just feel like my skin looks pretty good. I will just use this Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade Sand, and this is a really popular one. It's been around for quite a while now, and I don't know if you can tell, but I have discoloration on my cheeks. It really acts up more on this side, and today it's not as bad as it has been. When it's like a day like this where I don't need that much coverage on the cheeks, I like to use something like this, and it will do just the trick. So that's kind of what I'll do typically on a day-to-day basis. Today I will do some foundation. I used to wear foundation every day, so I have tried a lot of foundations. I would say that the L'Oreal Pro Glow, I really loved that, but it broke me out. But I love it so much. The Poreless, the matte and poreless one is good too, but it is very mattifying, and I'm just not really into the mattifying foundations these days. Maybelline has good ones, the matte and poreless, the dewy and smooth. Wet n Wild Photo Focus is a good one for full coverage. I also have this Wet n Wild Photo Focus stick one, which is good. L'Oreal True Match is a good one. I've tried the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear. Everybody was raving about this earlier this year, and I actually hate it. I don't know why. I really love the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation. I like the stick and the liquid version. I also have the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk foundation. This is in the shade 3 though, and it's really light. Another thing when it comes to complexion is the cream highlighters. Right here I have the Becca Opal little liquid stick, and I also have this Master Strobing Liquid from Maybelline. And I typically like to add glow products after my primers, just so my like pore filling primers are like in the pores, you know? I'm going in with that dewy and smooth. A little bit of it on the back of my hand. Whoa, I feel like less is more when it comes to makeup, so I'm gonna just stick to that and not be like insanely cakey, and just have a little bit of that here. And I'm gonna try to get into this Makeup Forever one. This is how I usually do it. I'll usually put dots all over my face, and it looks like a lot. I don't really like to put the product on my nose. I just find that it's better to just blend it onto the nose instead of have like so much product there. I'm using the BS Small Face Round Brush. I like to use a brush like this to press the product in. A lot of people love to use sponges, but when it comes to my foundation, a brush, it just gives it the most coverage. We just want to be sure to blend, you know, into all the edges, blend a little bit of the product down the neck and chin, not like down the neck. If I really need to blend some color down there, I'll use a powder. Do this kind of a pressing in motion and then buffing and a little bit of circular. You can see that glow underneath a little bit. I basically use concealer to highlight, as well as when needed I'll try to conceal any blemishes. I'm using this now to primarily just highlight. This is going to add a little bit of definition to the face. It's going to bring forward some brightness where the light would naturally hit my face, and just create a little bit more shadow and stuff like that, because you can see it's very flat right now. We are of course going to also bronze up, but this is the first step. I don't like to add too much of anything, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. And I do like to use the same brush, buff this into the skin. I also bring up some of that brightness right under the mouth, kind of just with the angle of how my mouth goes up. It just makes me feel like it lifts a little bit. And then I also use the brush on my upper lip area because I I have a very dark scar here and it just doesn't cover when I use a sponge. And then I'm gonna be going in with this is the Morphe face sponge, and I just wet it with some water, and I'm just using that to blend my nose and pull a little bit of that concealer in between my eyebrows. I just find that I sometimes get discoloration there, and it's a nice little area for me to have highlighted. So then the last part of highlight concealer that I will do is under the eyes. So I'm going to be using the Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer, which is good in its own ways. Another really good one is the Maybelline Age Rewind one that comes in a little twisty circle from Maybelline. That one's a really good drugstore. There's a lot of good drugstore ones. I'm using the shade Swan. It's the same shade I used all over. I'm basically just gonna do a couple swipes here. I used to do the whole triangle thing, the whole beauty guru triangle thing, but I don't need that much. No, I don't think any of us do. I think that if you use too much, it can create messiness, it can create ashiness, it can almost get too bright and wash you out. It just isn't the best. And I like to use my damp sponge to blend this one in. Sometimes when I really am like feeling like I want a lot of coverage, I'll use a brush first and then just go over with the sponge to smooth it out and add a little bit of like moisture, pick up anything excess, do a little bit of blending into the cheek area. I like to squeeze it like that to fit it into my inner corner. And I typically will do one eye at a time and set it. So I'm using a Morphe M523. It's like a flat packer brush, and the Aquasurance powder from J-Cat Beauty in the shade Ivory. It almost gives like a hydrated finish. Going in with the Maybelline Fit Me 220. I'm gonna set the center of my face with this mattifying powder, but I like to make sure that I don't have any fine lines going on so that I don't set the lines. I like to use my Morphe E2 brush and the Maybelline Fit Me Set and Smooth powder in 240. This is a little bit deep for me, so I use this over here on the outer part of the face, and this will automatically give me some color. Like I said, this is dark, so I'm gonna have to blend it a little bit down my neck. Just use a very light hand to pull this powder upwards, and this brush is very soft. I really don't recommend you drag or like pull on your neck, and if you do have to go in any direction, keep it upwards, don't go downwards. I'm a big stickler for anti-aging. I look really young for my age, and I kind of want to make it that way forever, even though right now it's not the most convenient thing. So the face is nice and set now. We can bake as well. I'm gonna go ahead and include that just because I feel like that goes in with powders. It's something that I do almost every time, but not every single time. But when I want longevity, I really enjoy that. If I'm gonna do my under eyes, I like to have a little bit of baking powder underneath. That will keep fallout from happening and color and mascara from getting under the eyes where you just brightened it up, you know? So when it comes to powders, loose powders, I like to use my sponge, just my damp sponge, to apply it. I really do like the Laura Mercier translucent powder. I also like the Cover FX one, and this is in translucent light, a little bit of color. A really good drugstore one is the Maybelline Fit Me, and this is in the shade Fair, and it's nice and brightening for my skin tone. It has a little bit of a pink undertone. That's what I'm gonna use today. I also really like Ben Nye banana powder and RCMA no color powder. RCMA no color powder is really good. It's about $12 for like a thing of like this big. I like to go all up around the nose. Obviously I went under the eyes. This is like my main area that I like to bake. Sometimes when I don't do the best job with my contour, I could clean up underneath. So this is gonna be the end of the video. I'm ending it on a crazier note, looking a little wild, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and if you are liking this makeup lesson, makeup class series. And the next one is coming soon, so go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on that, and so you don't miss out on any other videos I post. I hope you guys have a good night or day wherever you are. I'm sending you all the love and all of the good vibes. Have a good one. See you later. Peace out.